I'm Jay Horton. I make movies that make money. This is how. Today, I'm breaking down my top 5 habits of financially successful indie filmmakers. Number 5, they become Jacks or Jills of all trades. They learn as many different aspects of filmmaking as they can. Now, it's not always the way to go, but many times indie filmmakers need to basically be one-man bands. And while I agree that many times it's good to concentrate on fewer tasks, the financial complications of indie filmmaking don't always allow for it. And indie filmmakers need to be as self-sufficient as possible, while still maintaining the integrity of any given project. I'm not saying not to seek out collaborations or partnerships, I'm just saying you can't always count on them. And for those that say you can't create quality stuff this way, I say this. I don't really believe in the whole if you're a jack of all trades, you're a master of none thing. I'll just say it straight up. That's bullshit. I know several filmmakers and artists that operate at expert levels in multiple departments. And while I do agree that multi-hyphenating has its limits, most of us can walk and chew bubblegum at the same time and give the appropriate amount of attention to each. Here's the thing. When you have a larger budget and can concentrate on less tasks, be just the director or just the producer or just the writer, and that's awesome. It's more often than not the ideal way to tackle filmmaking. But on lower budgeted stuff, we usually don't have that luxury. And while sure, I'd much rather concentrate more fully on just directing or producing, whatever, it's not something I can always do. And it's up to each of us as individuals to know and understand our limits, and when taking on too much is, well, too much. Anyone that makes blanket statements like never multitask or always multitask, you should look at those people with some skepticism. Number 4, they support other filmmakers. Just look at the major filmmakers on social media, always congratulating and shouting out their fellow filmmakers and artists. I'm a huge believer in supporting others, even when, hell, especially when there's nothing concrete to gain from it. Number 3, they don't get caught up in what others are doing and saying. They're leaders, not followers. There's no one way to blaze a trail through indie film. And new paths are always emerging. If you have a new idea about how to make your way as a filmmaker, don't let anyone, even more experienced filmmakers, tell you it won't work. Now, that said, you should listen to more experienced filmmakers and take in what they're saying, but don't take it for gospel. Often, when people are trying something new, others, especially more experienced others, will automatically try and dismiss it. When you're starting out, so many people will tell you you're crazy, that filmmaking is too tough, or your approach is all wrong. I can't tell you how many crossed looks or glazed over eyeballs I got when I first started telling other filmmakers about my quick release documentary plan a few years back. Almost everyone thought I was full of it and wouldn't pull it off. And here I am, almost 2 years later, making more than I ever did from a more traditional approach. Do your thing, and don't let anyone convince you otherwise. Number 2, they are not afraid to change things up. What's working today might not work tomorrow. Be ready to pivot. This one is huge. I see so many experienced filmmakers that have done really well in the past. Then, when the method that they're using starts to not work so well, they freeze up and have trouble adapting. Their projects start falling off, and then they get bitter and eventually give up. One example I see often is filmmakers that have done very well with physical media sales in the past, like DVD and Blu-ray. And has that kind of declined and streaming came up and they're not having as much luck with streaming and they just kind of completely dismiss it. Once again, I'm not saying that streaming is better or anything like that, but we have to admit that it's become more prevalent. And look, just by giving streaming a little attention, it doesn't mean that you still can't focus hard on physical media. There are filmmakers out there that are still earning bank with physical. But to completely dismiss, ignore, or half-ass approach the streaming side of things is just a bad business move. Or Take the recent changes at Amazon. A few years back, an indie filmmaker could pretty much make a go releasing their movie on Amazon alone, and with a decent movie and marketing could make some legit money. But today, with the rate changes, purges, etc., that's pretty much become a thing of the past. Sure, there are a few outliers still earning very well there, but for the most part, filmmakers cannot count on Amazon as their movie's main source of revenue. So they have to change and seek out new avenues. I've really had to deal with this myself over the past 6 months, with them cutting the documentaries. And yeah, I'm pivoting, putting more effort into finding new platforms, in doing more windowing, using Vimeo or Gumroad for my initial releases, using new platforms like Tubi TV, and putting more effort into ancillary sales and alternate ways to monetize my content and make money. And within the next 6 months, I will have made up for the money that I've lost on Amazon by seeking out new avenues. And the number one thing, they keep making movies. If one fails, they move right on to the next. I've probably said the following 100 times. Creativity and passion aside, filmmaking is a numbers game. Not every movie is gonna hit. In fact, more likely than not, more are gonna lose than win. So be ready for that. I was 5 features into my career before I was steady making money as a filmmaker. And even after that, I've had rough years here and there. The main, number one reason that I'm still here, that I'm still making movies, that I'm making a living now on my movies is not that I'm uber talented. It's not that I got uber lucky. It's not that I had any contacts in the industry. I had none of those things. The main reason I'm here now, making a go of it as a filmmaker, is I never gave up. In spite of some very tough years, I kept going. I kept making movies. Hey, I got a great interview dropping this Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern. You're not gonna wanna miss it. Don't forget to like this video and share it. But whatever you do, keep making movies.